Now, in recent NBA news, the current season for the talented Giannis Antetokounmpo is another outstanding one. The star player for the Milwaukee Bucks is shooting 53.6% from the floor and averaging 31.2 points, 11.2 rebounds, 5.1 assists, 0.9 steals, and 0.9 blocks a game. He has definitely made a name for himself as one of the top players of his current age by combining his height and talent. So what else makes him such a great player? And how are the Celtics relying on him to make them take the win over the Bucks? Let's take a closer look. But first, a reminder about our brand new giveaway. We're giving away a PS5 with a copy of NBA 2K22 and Madden 22. All you have to do is watch the full video, leave a like, comment the keyword hidden in the video, and make sure you're subscribed. It's that simple. First up, NBA player Giannis Antetokounmpo has been showing just how talented he really is, making him a true force to be reckoned with. Over his previous 7 games, Giannis Antetokounmpo has been on a run, scoring close to 40 points per game. In a recent 123-113 drubbing of the Washington Wizards, he scored a career-high 55 points, creating his most recent scoring success. However, efficiency does not always equate to aesthetic appeal. Kyrie Irving, Stephen Curry, and Kevin Durant's games have more dynamic and exciting visuals than Antetokounmpo's. However, Antetokounmpo prefers it that way. When at his finest, Antetokounmpo drives to the basket for layups or dunks with a remarkable mix of length, athleticism, and ability. Antetokounmpo can always get buckets thanks to this scoring skill without using fancy moves or long shots from beyond the arc. Over the past 3 years, he has dominated the league using this strategy, winning 2 straight MVP honors and becoming as one of the league's most powerful players. Pretty incredible, right? Antetokounmpo has made playing boring basketball his trademark, which enables him to keep up his effective rating. In fact, he recently said that he likes to just concentrate on playing effective basketball rather than being compared to some of the league's most interesting players. Having at least 40 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists in 3 straight games, Antetokounmpo's performance on Tuesday elevated him to an elite level. He is only the 3rd player in league history to accomplish this feat. Elgin Baylor, Wilt Chamberlain, and Russell Westbrook are among those he joins. Speaking of the NBA, the Celtics coach recently spoke on how important Giannis is for the team's success. When Celtics coach Joe Mazzulla named down the defenders they lined up against Giannis Antetokounmpo, the list just kept growing. Between players like Al Horford, Grant Williams, Blake Griffin, Malcolm Brogdon, Marcus Smart, and others, they threw just about everyone they could at the Bucks star. That kind of effort is required to slow down an MVP winner twice over like Antetokounmpo. The Celtics were largely rewarded for their efforts. Despite this, Antetokounmpo scored 27 points as the Celtics defeated the Bucks 138-119 on Christmas. The perfect combination. But despite having a mostly unsuccessful night, the Celtics did a decent job of slowing him down. Antetokounmpo finished the opening 3 quarters with just 17 points on 6 for 18 shooting. He made 5 of 8 free throws, although his preferred method of scoring is through committing fouls. On Sunday, the Celtics were similarly content to let Antetokounmpo accept shots. Several of these mid-range attempts by Antetokounmpo were successful, including 1 3-pointer in the 4th quarter. However, the Celtics recognized it was a numbers game and that Antetokounmpo wouldn't earn enough to hurt them in the long run. The Celtics were quite rough in their attempt to impede Antetokounmpo. Just like in the playoffs, they have the personnel to do that, particularly Horford and Williams from the previous year. Blake Griffin joined the C's organization this season as well, and Mazzulla gave him playing time against Antetokounmpo. The Celtics will cherish whatever victories they get, especially over the Bucks. But make no mistake, there will be some takeaways from the recent triumph if the 2 clubs do face off in the playoffs. Chris Middleton's absence, however, was felt by the Bucks as he is a vital component of their offensive strategy. With a 24-10 record, Boston is also back at the top of the East and NBA. The Celtics faltered when they dropped 5 of their next 6 games, but they have since recovered. The 2 teams are still vying for place with plenty of season left. Now, speaking of the NBA, here are some potential trades we could see go down in 2023. This season has been unexpected, with clubs that were predicted to tank turning out to be quite strong and vice versa. Multiple stars will therefore likely be up for grabs and available for trade as teams strive to improve as much as possible. In light of this, let's look at possible NBA trade candidates for 2023. Some of these may surprise you. First up, in no particular order, Buddy Hield. Before the 2023 NBA season began, Buddy Hield was a part of almost all conceivable deals. The Indiana Pacers, nevertheless, have performed considerably better than anticipated, so they might decide to keep him around for the rest of the season. Other teams may still inquire about his availability despite that. Buddy Hield is the league's greatest three-point shooter by volume, who isn't named Stephen Curry or Klay Thompson. Although he is not on the most affordable contract, he would still be in the team's hands for another year. Next, Nikola Vucevic. Nikola Vucevic was considered as a potential trade target in the NBA not long after signing with the Chicago Bulls, and for good reason. He is on an expiring contract, unable to obtain a stop, and his offensive performance has declined. In order to get Vucevic, the Bulls put their future in danger, though it might have made it easier for them to sign DeMar DeRozan. However, they would be better off scrapping the entire roster and starting over, with Vucevic being the first player to go. Another potential trade, Jakob Poeltl. Recently, Jakob Poeltl's name has been mentioned in connection with a number of possible NBA moves. He, Doug McDermott, and Josh Richardson might all be traded now that the San Antonio Spurs have demonstrated that they don't care about winning games. Poeltl is proven to be a capable rebounder and a very strong defender, especially in pick-and-roll situations. While not being a superstar or an athletic freak, the Austrian big man has already drawn interest from other teams eager to bolster their inside presence. Next, could we see Jordan Clarkson traded? This season, Jordan Clarkson ought to be a contender for Sixth Man of the Year. He's one of the league's most dynamic combo guards and a player who could start for most clubs. He excels most, nevertheless, when in charge of the second unit. Because of this, several top-tier teams will probably contact the Utah Jazz at some point during the season to ask about him. As we already knew, they plan to drastically alter the roster in order to add more picks to the ones they received in exchange for Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. Another trade we could see, Fred VanVleet. In the same vein, the Toronto Raptors might similarly approach Fred VanVleet. His time in the North may be coming to an end, even if he earned every cent of the large contract he signed a few years ago. By the time his contract expires, VanVleet will be 29 and earning $22 million annually. His statistics are fair, and he has established himself as an excellent shooter and backcourt defender, so numerous teams in need of point guards should be lining up to try to sign him. Next, Russell Westbrook. This season, Russell Westbrook has kept his career alive. He is demonstrating that he can have an impact whether he starts the game or comes off the bench. He will carry on doing what he does as long as he receives his minutes and touches. Westbrook won't be able to fulfill the terms of that enormous $47 million contract, and if traded, he'd probably be bought out. Nevertheless, considering that his contract might include at least one first-round selection, several teams ought to be eager to swallow their pride and accept it. Yet another trade, DeAndre Ayton. The Phoenix Suns held off on paying DeAndre Ayton until the very last minute, but it was clear that they were undervaluing him since he had a public dispute with coach Monty Williams. Why not think about moving if they have yet to perform at their best this season? Ayton's willingness to leave the desert became apparent, and the Suns hope to acquire him or a viable replacement at a reduced price. Although he will need to agree any deal before the deadline, several teams were intrigued by the prospect of obtaining the former top overall choice. Next, Zach LaVine. It looks like the Chicago Bulls should just blow everything up, as we already suggested. They will still be a poor squad and a few pieces away from legitimate competition, even if Lonzo Ball returns and plays, which seems doubtful given all the reports. Zach LaVine is a young offensive player that excels. He doesn't have the potential to be a team's top scoring option though. Nevertheless, he could assist the Bulls to recover a few of the first-round picks they have recently lost. Now, many NBA fans believe Bradley Beal could be up for a trade in 2023. Bradley Beal's trade speculations have recently swept the internet, like they do every season. The Washington Wizards are in a mess and need more players to make things right. They simply aren't good enough. Matching that pay and digesting that contract will be difficult because Beal is bound by one of the largest NBA contracts in history. But someone will take that chance because he's an all-star and one of the finest offensive players in the league. Last but not least, DeMar DeRozan. Now, DeRozan stands out as the best NBA trade candidate right now. Although he is coming off an MVP caliber season and has yet to slow down at all this year. Billy Donovan's team hasn't seen many victories as a result. The Bulls need to start again and reorganize. Patrick Williams and Kobe White will never be famous. Their scouting could have been better, and the decisions they made didn't work out. DeRozan should be released and given the chance to flourish in a successful club. Unfortunately, guys, this is all the time we had for today. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and as always, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.